Kingdom Club. Great to see you today. Missing you, of course. Wish we were together in person today, but this will be the next best thing for a while. I hope you're excited about Easter this Sunday and that your family has some great plans for some awesome egg hunts. So I have a great story for us today, and it's by a gentleman by the name of John Hendrix, and it's called Miracle Man. I love the pictures in this book. They're super cool. I'm going to try to hold it up to the screen so you can see them real well. Ages ago, in a dry and dusty land, the people were in need. The land was a sick place in need of healing. The land was a blind place in need of sight. The land was a thirsty place in need of water, the kind of living water that would last forever. It's really cool. Cool pictures. On a day that didn't seem at all unusual, there came an unusual man. He looked like any other man, but he was like none who had ever lived before. This man was God's Son. When he spoke, his words made things happen. His words came alive. That's cool. The man found a group of hungry fishermen, frustrated with their empty nets. The man said, "Cast your nets on the other side of the boat." A fisherman named Simon, who was later called Peter, reluctantly obeyed. His net came up bursting with fish. The fishermen were amazed. The man said, "Follow me, and you'll catch fish of a different kind." The fishermen followed the man. They traveled to a town. As they walked, a leper came along with them. The fishermen kept their distance, afraid of the leper's disease, but not the man. Instead, he touched the leper on the face and tenderly put his arm around the sick man's shoulders. The leper knelt and said, "I know you can make me clean if you are willing." The man was still for a moment and then said, "I am. Be clean." The leper, who now could be called by some other name, forever lost his leprosy. The astonished fishermen knew this man was not like them. This man was a miracle man. Do you remember I Am, whose name is I Am? A large crowd soon gathered to see the miracle man. The friends of a boy who was paralyzed hoped to get him to the miracle man, but the crowd was just too large. So the friends made a plan. Pulling back the tiles on the roof of the house where the miracle man was speaking, they lowered the boy down on a mat right in front of everyone. When the man saw their faith, he said to the boy, "Friend, I am God's Son, sent to heal and forgive. You are whole again." Sorry. Not everyone liked the miracles or the miracle man. There were some in the crowd with fancy clothes who taunted him. "You claim to be God's very son? Are you a magician or just a liar?" The miracle man stood quietly and then said to the boy, "Friend, I say, rise and walk." The boy stood up gingerly at first and then ran right past the taunters in their fancy clothes. Those men were powerful, and now they were angry. They hated how much the people loved the miracle man. They knew he was trouble. One evening, the man told Peter to find a boat. He said there was work to be done on the other side of the sea. As the tiny boat set out, the waves began to grow. Soon a great squall was breaking high over the deck. Sorry, I got that word wrong. These fishermen were very good sailors, but the storm terrified them. The wind and the rain raged all around, but the miracle man was sleeping. Peter cried out, "Don't you care if we die?" The miracle man stood and roared, "Be still!" And the storm ended in an instant. The man looked at the trembling fisherman and said, "I am the Son of the living God, who made the water and the winds. Did you forget who was in your boat?" The man traveled from one dusty town to another. The fishermen, whom he called the 12 disciples, always followed behind. He covered the eyes of the blind with his hands, and they could see. The sick touched his robe and were made well. But the endless crowds made the man tired. One night he told the disciples, "I need to be alone for a time." The disciples sat around their small fire together and worried. Will he come back? Will the miracles end someday? Why do we follow him? He said he is God's son. One disciple said, "Those powerful men are very angry that he said he is the Son of God. He should not say that anymore." In the morning, the disciples woke up to a delicious smell. The miracle man had returned and was cooking them fish. Handing them breakfast, he said, "It is time to return. There are too many waiting who need to be fed." Indeed, the man found a gigantic crowd waiting for him nearby. He stayed and spoke among them all day until it was very late. Finally, one of the disciples said, "We can never feed all these people. You should send them away so they could find something to eat." The man saw a girl with a small basket of bread and fish. "Child," the man said, "would you give up your basket if it could feed everyone here?" Peter laughed and said, "How are 5 loaves and 2 fish going to feed so many?" The child handed her basket to the miracle man. The man gave thanks and broke the loaves and fish, giving some to each disciple to pass out to the crowd. He kept breaking and breaking and breaking and filled every mouth with bread and fish. How is this possible? The miracle man said, "I am the bread of life. With me there is abundance forever." The man was again tired and needed rest, so he sent the disciples on ahead of him to cross the sea once more, this time alone. As the hours drifted by and the wind blew cold, the disciples felt abandoned and scared. Then they saw a distant figure coming toward them. He was striding across the waves. The disciples cried out in fear, "A ghost on the water!" A voice they recognized called back, "Take courage, it is I. Do you think I would leave you?" Peter leapt out of the boat, his feet held firm on the sea, just as if it were dry land. With his gaze fixed on the miracle man, he walked on the water. Then he looked down at his feet, amazed, and he started to sink in the rolling water. "Help me," he cried, out as his head went under water. Quickly taking his hand, the man pulled Peter up to the surface and said, "Peter, have faith in my feet, not your own." After their journey, the man called his disciples together for a meal. He blessed the bread and wine and said, "It is time for me to leave you. I will be broken like this bread and poured out like this drink. One of you will betray me, and the flock will be scattered." The disciples were astonished and cried out in denial. As the shouting grew, the disciple called Judas fled from the table. After dinner, as the disciples and the miracle man rested in an inky dark garden, everything changed. For a bag of silver coins, Judas had turned into a betrayer. He led the rich taunters and their soldiers to arrest the man. These powerful people with their fancy clothes were tired of listening to everyone talk about the miracle man. They feared that the crowds would no longer listen to them. The taunters had decided it was time for the miracles to end. Some disciples ran away, and some disciples fought, but the man raised his hand and said to them, "No more." To Judas he said, "This is your hour when darkness reigns." The soldiers led the miracle man away into the shadows. The miracle man was set to die. The disciples, who just wanted to be called fishermen again, were heartbroken. It seemed the miracles had come to an end. But God's son Jesus, the miracle man, had in store one last glorious miracle. Jesus doesn't stay dead. He's alive today. That is our good news. Well, Kingdom Club, we hope to see you maybe on a Zoom call next week. We're going to try to set something up so that we can have a little Kingdom Club online. We'll see how that goes. Maybe do a couple of songs and have a story and learn a verse. It'll be really fun. So happy Easter to all of you, and we love you. Bye.